Set. 4, 3, 1.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sunday Morning Quarterback. Today we are 6, yes, I said it, 6 pastors who love ministry, leadership, and sports. Today we have the one and only director of the Chattanooga Youth Leader Collective, Pastor Zach Wyatt. Zach, how you doing today, sir?
Doing great, Joseph. Happy to be on. Talk a little sports and ministry.
Yes, sir, and the prodigal son has come home. Dr. Adam Denny with his Liberty colors. Adam, you doing all right today after the Panthers took another loss?
Y'all are lucky I'm here. I'm gonna just leave it at that.
Wow. Oh, excuse us.
You are lucky
Oh, my
I'm here.
goodness.
I do not want to be here today, but here.
Wow.
Hey, it's okay because Paul's team took a whooping yesterday. Paul, I see you rocking your orange, but you hanging in there. You doing all right? You tried to escape out on us today.
I tried, but it's okay. The good thing is, Miami's not 0-4 like the Panthers, so that's always a good thing. But otherwise, yeah, it was definitely quite the hit in the chin yesterday. But what can you do? Josh Allen showed up, and he showed up in a big way. So that's all you can say. And I love it. We have I think we have a division rivalry happening, and one that I think is exciting for the East. So that's all I'm going to say.
I just like the fact that Paul's watched more NFL football in 3 weeks than he has his whole life. This is called discipleship.
100%. 100%.
It's called discipleship.
Oh.
But John's the optimist of the group because he's just used to his teams going up and down. John, you hanging in
John's
there with
the
your teams?
Optimist.
Yeah, I am the optimist here. Yeah, the Panthers going to put it together, man. Hold on for Bryce. He's going to come around. Believe in it.
Dad, last week we were catching a lot of shellackins, but we're going to save it because we know we got a big game coming up. But did you have a good day yesterday, Dad?
I had a great day. I just want to say the star is shining again. That's right.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, gosh. Well, we will talk about some sports up front because all pastors love sports as we do. And then on the back end, we're going to talk a little bit about church attendance and just some overall trends that we're seeing in the church, not only in student ministry, but in the church as a whole. So let's jump in here first. Adam, I'm going to hand it to you. What were your biggest reactions from yesterday's NFL week? And we'll start NFL, and then we'll segue to college here in a bit. What'd you notice?
Well, I'm gonna be a bit biased in my sorrow and say that the biggest thing that's jumping out to me is how great CJ Stroud looks. And back on the podcast before the draft happened, I remember saying my biggest fear is that Stroud is a great quarterback and Bryce is a bust. Now, I don't think Bryce is a bust at all. If you look at his numbers, you look at the tape, you can see he has nothing to work with. Boys, CJ Stroud looks amazing. And honestly, I'm happy because in due quick time, they will be the best team in Texas.
Oh,
Man, bombs
Hey,
dropped.
So you Cowboy fans won't even be the best team in your own state soon enough.
Hey, Dad, we got to be careful before you know it. Adam will have a Texans hat.
yeah. It's slowly coming our way.
I'm just going to take that one in stride.
He's already got the colors. He's already got the
All
colors.
right, hey, since you got to do that, all right, let me say this.
Oh, dang
no.
it.
Oh,
I just
here we
tried to
go.
take it in stride, Adam.
Y'all been hitting me with the slander when I've been away. Right? Now I'm here. I'm looking you in your eye. Here's the thing. You guys, some of you switch teams. All I do is add teams from time to time. You guys switch teams. You abandon your teams. You're unfaithful to your teams.
Oh, goodness.
So stop that talk, man.
Oh, gosh. John, what stuck out to you?
Bro.
Just to note, some of our teams died. Literally changed names, went to a whole
That's
different
fair.
team. I don't
That's
know
fair.
who the Commanders are, so that was not a team I've ever cheered for. But anyway,
Oh, man.
Buffalo is to form. You guys, they whooped Washington, and then you watch that same team, Washington, go into Philly and hold toe to toe with Philly, who's obviously one of the heralded teams coming in. And I think it really just shows how good Buffalo is, and I think it could be disastrous. Also, gotta make mention of the San Francisco 49ers, who the Dallas Cowboys are going to run into. McCaffrey, 4 touchdowns. Man, if he stays healthy, and Carolina knew this very well, he is such a dangerous player, and it's great to watch. So fun to watch.
Yep, I agree. Dad, are you red alert for your Bengals? What are you thinking?
That's
Bengals.
exactly my thought. What happened? They are the Bungles again. That's who they are. I don't know what's going on. I'm fearful for the coach. He may not be the guy. It may be all Burrows, and Burrows he's just not right physically. I think he's not right mentally right now because of the things going on physically. They still don't have a line. And so, you got some wide receivers that are starting to get temperamental and emotional. So you got to be careful. They can go down the drain in a hurry.
In a hurry, Joe Burrow. Anyway, it's okay. Paul, today's the day, though. You've been riding high in Miami. All your teams are winning, and then y'all took a shellacking yesterday. What do you got to say for yourself?
It was pretty bad. I don't have much to say to myself other than to say, like I said earlier, we took one on the chin, and that's basically all you can say with that. I mean, it was at Buffalo, so mind you, hostile game over there. They were going to come out to prove a point because of what Miami did to the Broncos last week. And so they were not going to just simply lay back and allow Miami to just roll over all of them with their offense. I mean, that just wasn't going to happen. And like I said, Josh Allen stepped up. I mean, I think when Adam texted us, he had a QBR of 158, which is ridiculous. And then on top of that, like the guy struck gold with Diggs. I mean, the dude had 3 touchdowns, went for 120 yards. On top of that, he had no interceptions whatsoever. I mean, the guy played out of his mind. I mean, here's the thing. They played well, and all credit to the Buffalo Bills. Tip your hat to them. We'll see them again later down the season. And I'll say this, it's very hard for an NFL team to win twice against playing the same team in the season. So we'll see what happens, but I'll tip my hat. Good job, Josh Allen. The dude played really well.
Hey, let me give you a little bit of hope there, Paul. Jalen Ramsey is coming back soon.
Yeah.
So you put him on that defense on Diggs, and he may be able to make a difference.
Oh, man. Go ahead.
On Monday, I was just going to say my imagination went to Paul going to the Amazon cart and saying, remove this from my cart with the Dolphins jersey. It really changed real quick there.
It did. In fact, Fanatics was just throwing me a bunch of stuff out there with like, hot deal here, 30% off this. And I was tempted. And then I said, nah, I'm good.
Oh my gosh.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh
I'm kidding.
Yeah, right.
Typical Dolphin fan.
No.
Two heart came out.
No.
Right all along.
Oh, stop that, bro. That guy's going to be a Texas fan next week. Give me a break, bro.
Well, you ain't going to take any digs at him now. Come on.
And plus, he's got other colors he's got to buy the following week after that when Miami beats UNC. So it doesn't even matter, bro.
Gosh. All right.
Oh,
Before I hand it off to you, Zach, and we shift gears to college real quick, let me just say this. A few things that caught my eye. Jacksonville finally had a get-right game, so that was good to see them. Denver finally got a win, but many people think the Bears had a blunder because they were winning pretty early. One that caught my eye, Cleveland has been on fire with that defense, and they took an L 28-3. Baltimore is kind of flying under the radar. They might be for real. The Rams, they're looking pretty good. Indy's looking pretty good, too. That game went to the wire. Baker Mayfield gets another win against a good team. Now, we know that, obviously, Derek Carr was out. John, your old team, Washington, they leave us with it every time. They're winning early. They act like they're going to beat Philly, and then they just blunder. Another one, Pittsburgh, took a hard L yesterday from Houston. I mean, just got demolished. So interesting day around the league. We will talk about next week's slate here in 2 topics from now. But let's shift gears to college. Zach, how would you define the current feeling and state of the Power T, your Tennessee Volunteers? What are you seeing?
Well, life in college football is week to week. And if you had asked me this question a couple of weeks ago, it would have been very different. And so right now I think we're still in wait and see mode. And, we had a great weekend, but I think the SEC right now is it is not as clear as it has been in years past. Georgia has not looked as dominant as they have. Alabama definitely hasn't looked as dominant. And but as feeling about the Power T, I don't feel like we're as strong on offense as we were last year, but our defense looks a lot stronger and a lot better. So I'm feeling good in some ways and not feeling as hopeful in others. But our bye week next week comes at a good time.
Good thing for you guys, Zach, is y'all's coach, man. He reminds me a lot of the coach for the Dolphins in the NFL, and he just
Mhm.
can dial up that offense. You can tell he's an offensive specialist. I think you guys are in good hands for the foreseeable future, as long as you can keep him there. But John, I know you got to watch a good slate of college football. Your Tar Heels won. What stuck out to you?
This guy can't even keep up with the teams here.
Oh,
Get about anyways. So yeah, I was looking at the Notre Dame and Duke game. How great is it to have a ACC game that two ranked teams, two unknown teams go toe to toe and really carry on a great game with the little bit of floundering happened in the SEC and a pretty prominent team or two jumping out in the Big 10, Big 12. It's good to see some people playing in the ACC. It's not Florida State or Clemson that's ranked. And so it was a good game. Obviously, I was pulling against Duke because I'm a Christian, can't cheer for the devil. But in addition to that, you got Catholics on the other side. It was a tough play right there. But I'm thankful that it was a good game. It was an encouraging game. It was one fun.
I agree, John. I think that's the first time I ever cheered for Notre Dame, but boy, was I.
wait a second. Did Carolina lose this weekend?
No, Notre Dame barely beat Duke at the very end.
Oh, okay. I got you. Adam, what stuck out to you? I know Liberty's looking good. What are you seeing?
What stuck out to me is I don't think the SEC is as strong as it has been recently, as Zach was saying. And here's what stands out to me, because Auburn almost beat Georgia. I don't think the SEC is going to put the national championship up this year. I think you are seeing a lot of parity. A lot of people are attributing that to the NIL and the way that's changed things. But man, when I watch Caleb Williams, and then I can look in the Pac-12 and see Oregon and Washington, and we saw Colorado hang with them. And I look at the other conferences, those top schools, there's just such parity in college football. And I like that. I don't like when it's Georgia and Alabama are ranked 1 and 2, and it stays that way the entire year. And this is really going to gear us up and get exciting next year when there's 12 teams in the playoffs. So I think the SEC this year is beatable. That's my take.
No, I agree. I see Carolina had a bye. I missed that one. Dad, what did you take away from the Colorado game? I know you've been watching Oregon and Washington in the Pac-12. It's funny, all this hype around the Pac-12 quarterbacks, and then this is the last year their conference will be together.
Yeah, it was interesting to see if USC could slow down the Colorado offense. We know that they slowed down with Oregon. So I wanted to see if USC had tightened down that defense, because we know that offense is prolific, and they didn't. And so I think that's still going to be their Achilles heel. I've been watching Oregon, and Oregon looks tough. And I'm keeping my eyes on Washington. Just remember Washington. They are looking stout. They got NFL guys all over the place. Their quarterback is amazing. Their coach is really good. Watch Texas. But my team that I'm really watching that I think can win this whole thing is Michigan. Michigan has been knocking at the door. They've got, the thing with Pac-12 that scares me is once they run into a good defense, and we know that the SEC's defense is not what it used to be this year anyways, but it's still stout compared to what the Pac-12 is playing. So, but Michigan is in the middle. They've got a good offense. They got a good defense. They've been at these games. They got a good coach. They have an experienced quarterback. So keep your eye on Michigan to kind of bring this thing home. But I think Georgia's definitely beatable. I agree with Adam.
Washington Huskies quarterback Michael Penix Jr., former Butch Jones commit at UT. I just wanted to highlight that.
Yes.
Just another reason the Vols have been terrible for 20 years.
Playing good ball. Playing good ball.
Oh, man, the Vols have had so many former commits. Hey, let's move on to our Trevor Lawrence, grew up a UT fan, and it's just pain all around. Hey, let's move on to our preacher picks. It could be college or pro. What games are sticking out to you? I'll just throw a few college ones out here. Georgia versus Kentucky. We saw Kentucky looking really good last week. Georgia's quarterback is pretty young, and they've had some tests on the road. So we'll see. Their schedule's full of cupcakes, but it's not looking like they're going to be able to make it through without maybe taking a loss. And then another one that stuck out was Oklahoma versus Texas. Can Texas keep it together? Can they keep this thing rolling and make it to the playoff, or will they take an L early? Adam, what do you think?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to lock in on this Saturday, Texas and Oklahoma. When you look at Texas's schedule, they're obviously in a pretty good conference, but having beat Alabama, now we're going to find out, are you really back, Texas? And are you a contender? Are you not just happy to be near the top of the pack, but are you here and are you here to stay? I think this is a statement game because in the last 5 or 6 years, they can win one big game in the season, but they never put together an 11 or 12 win season. I think this is the year they do it, though. I think they're going to beat Oklahoma, and the rest of their schedule is fairly light. I mean, you can't just wake up and roll over, but I mean, yeah, they could end up being 12-0 if they get past OU and take care of business in the Big 12. They're still calling it. Yep.
Zach, Tennessee's got a bye this week, but just looking forward.
Good win.
You guys have Texas A&M coming up in 2 weeks, and even though they're a little bit down, I mean that's still going to be a dogfight. But what other games are sticking out to you this week?
Yeah, of course that Texas Oklahoma game. I was looking at kind of the SEC. You know, Texas A&M plays Alabama the week before they play us, which I'm very thankful for. So hopefully Alabama kind of beats up on them. And going back to that Oklahoma Texas game, I agree with Adam. I think Texas is the better team. You know, the question always asking kind of at this point in the season with any team is who have they played? You know, who are they at this point? And so with Texas, you look at, well, they beat Alabama, but Alabama's still working in a new quarterback. They beat several backup quarterbacks in Kansas and trying to remember the other teams that they've beaten. So we're going to really see who Texas is. And the same with Oklahoma. I mean, they were really turned their season around from last year. So really excited about that matchup.
Yep, that's a good one. Paul, what are you watching?
Yeah, same as the rest of the guys and what they've mentioned. I mean, that's going to be a big game with the ones that they mentioned from Texas, Oklahoma. That would be good, along with other ones. But honestly, I'm looking forward to the Miami game. Of course, I'm going to be watching that one. It's at Miami Gardens. It's against Georgia Tech. I mean, it's an ACC, rivalry thing that we have going on with them. Has been for a little bit. Not huge, but I mean, we always have issues with them or Virginia Tech. Can't stand it.
So you might get like 2,000 people in the stadium. You think?
Maybe. Who knows?
All right, let's see.
I mean, it's a toss-up, bro. Maybe we can flip a coin. It might be 2005 people there instead of 2000. I don't know, but we'll see. It should be a good game. I'm really honestly just waiting for the Chapel Hill game. That's what I'm waiting for. I think
we're gonna have. Hey, Zach, we got a lot of Carolina fans, and obviously Paul's a Miami fan. We're gonna have some pulpit wagers, like some jerseys being worn in the pulpit.
Paul's been wearing Carolina blue one Sunday each fall for the last 5 years, and that's gonna continue this year.
Yep, Adam even mailed him what he wanted him to wear. But John, one of the games we were talking about previewing earlier is Dallas and San Fran. How do you see it playing out?
Man, I'm to be honest with you, surely I think both teams are playing well. I'll concede that. I think Dallas's defense is playing better than their offense in a lot of ways. But I don't know if they're going to be able to contain McCaffrey. I'll be really surprised. He's going to be the most athletic guy on the field. He usually is when he steps on the field. 4 touchdowns last week. Purdy only missed 1 pass last week. I mean, they're playing out of their mind. Defense is not as strong as Dallas's, but I really think San Francisco is going to edge it out by about 3 points. I think it's going to be a close one. I think there'll be some scoring that's going to happen. I think Prescott, so long as he doesn't give the game away, he's got a shot to pull it off. But I think it's going to be the best one to watch this weekend.
I agree, man. Christian McCaffrey, what he's doing right now is just is incredible. The thing for us, just to give a little truth serum, and Dad, we can kind of get into this. The defense got right yesterday. Dak's playing good, but man, Mike McCarthy, he does great between the center of the field all the way up into the red zone. And he's got that West Coast, the ball's getting out quick, so they're not pushing it down the field, but getting the ball out quick. But the problem is he's an old school guy, and he doesn't have the new school scheme that you see some of these coaches just getting people open, whether it's rubs or picks or whatever. And so we just break down in the red zone because our sequencing has just been bad. So I give Dak a little bit of credit there. He catches some of the flack for the red zone, but the scheming is not on par with Paul's coach down there in Miami or Shanahan. And so, I don't know. I feel good as a Cowboy fan because we're going to get the measuring stick all year. We play San Fran. We play Buffalo later in the season. We play Miami. The only team we don't play is the Chiefs. And so 2 games, Dad, real quick before I hand it off that are good ones, is we got Jacksonville at Buffalo, so Trevor Lawrence, and then Josh Allen. That's going to be a good one to watch. Two teams, LA play in Philly. Not many people saw the Rams looking good, and man, they're showing up, and so that could be a tough one. And then obviously Dallas and San Fran. So going into that one, I mean, if I had money, I'd pick San Francisco, but I'm open to see. We'll see if we can slay some demons. Dad, how do you think it'll play out?
I think we're going in there free. We want to win. We lost 2 tough ones, and that's the thing to remember. Both games have been very tough. We lost them at the end. So, but what happened with the Cardinals, I think most people are not going to pick us. So we're going to go in there free. And if our defense can hold tight and we can get in the red zone and score some touchdowns, I think it's a pick'em game. I think it's going to be a pick'em game anyways. But I just want to make sure that Dallas does not do what Miami did, where they just got punched in the mouth and they just fell in the first quarter. And so I want to see us hang and bang with them. And if we lose, close. And I think that'd do a lot for us, because at the end of the day, it's about what we do at the end of the year. And so just want to see Dallas not get beat bad.
Yep. Dad, I'm not going to say we planned our fall break vacation around right after our toughest game, because we won't be on next week.
By the way, I'm going to be in the airport when they are playing.
All I'm saying is if we take an L, at least we're not recording next Monday and have to take one on the chin like all these bums on here.
No. We're going to figure out how to record this podcast.
Hey, we're going to be at
don't even.
Hey, we'll be at Disney.
Hey, don't worry. That'll change by Adam once the Cowboys take that victory.
Hey, we'll be at Disney World, okay? But anyway.
I'm fishing. I can't go.
Yeah.
They're catching those guppies, bro.
Hey, let's segue to ministry and leadership. Zach, before we jump in, for those that don't know, we've got churches and people listening in different states. Just real quick, can you just kind of give us an overview of where you work, where you serve, a little bit about your family, and then we'll jump into our ministry topic for today.
No, thanks, Joseph. So I'm in Chattanooga, Tennessee, serve with a ministry called Youth Leader Collective. And so we connect, coach, and care for youth pastors and primarily the Chattanooga and North Georgia area. We have area networks to get youth pastors together to pray for one another, care for one another, resource one another. We do a conference once a year. And most every day I'm sitting across the table from a youth pastor to just coach or care for them. And so that's any way we can do something. We tell youth pastors we want something for you, not from you. Family, I'm married to my wife, April. We've been married 20 years, and we have 2 boys, Noah and Eli. Noah's 18. He's a freshman at UT Chattanooga, and Eli's 13. He's in 7th grade at the school. My wife's a high school teacher, and it's a K-12 school, and Eli's in 7th grade there.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, you, Zach, were a youth pastor for many years, and you recently just came out of an interim pastor role. And so what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about church attendance, not just on Sunday morning, but across the board throughout ministries. And we know that church attendance was dramatically affected in the post-COVID church. So, Zach, I'm going to set you up for the first question, and then we'll just kind of bounce it around the horn and organically talk about it. But it's widely agreed upon that church attendance continues to decline across the board. My personal opinion is that 100% of the time, 40% of the people won't be there. And this could apply to our Sunday services, our small groups, our student ministry or children's ministry programming. And so a lot of pastors bemoan this, but what I want to just kind of break down is what are some of the reasons for this, but more so, how can the church respond to it?
No, that's good. Well, they say now regular church attendance is just once a month, and which is hard to fathom, I think, for many of us who probably grew up in some sort of church context, going 3 times a week or whatever that is. And, if you look at all the statistics, especially Generation Z, which is really just our high schoolers and then our college students and up, that is, there are more what they would call the nuns, as we all know, that those who have no religious affiliation at all, than there are Christians. And that may not be the case for much of our context. I'm in the South, but when you look at where we are in the United States, there is more religious just apathy and more just nuns than there is ever in the past. Why is that? I'd love to hear from other people. I think that one of the things we say here, we have a sister ministry called the Pray For Me campaign that is so focused on helping create intergenerational relationships in churches. And I think one of the sayings we have is that so many students and children, they grow up and they see the church as an institution, not as a family. And I think that's one of the things that's going on is that issue. I think that just the lack of genuine community in a church. We've siloed so many ministries out, youth ministry, children's ministry, college ministry out that we see it as an institution, that we don't see it as a family. Church, and I think that, and I this is anecdotal, but I think we're seeing it. There's so much polarization now in politically, and I think that young people are seeing a connection between what's happening religiously and what's happening politically, and a lot of them don't enjoy that, don't like that. Yep. So those are just a couple of my thoughts. I have other thoughts, but I want to hear from these other leaders as well.
Yeah, sure, John.
Yeah, I think you've hit a lot of it on the head. I would just kick in as well the absence of family worship. I think it's bar none that historically, dating back to the religious freedom part of our country, is it was pretty normal for families to gather in daily devotions and sing songs and praise. And I think honestly that the church is an outpouring of that family worship, as families are gathered together and worship in their own context. They gather together in a local community and worship together, and they've bridged that gap, like you're talking about, with family being a part of the church as an institution, because now it's a place I come to do religious rites or whatever you would call it, rather than it's a place where I continue the worship that's already happening in my home. And I think reclaiming some of that family worship will really help solidify some of the faith of the younger generations, and hopefully instead of being pulled away towards things of the world, which we know is great risk, we have the opportunity to see God weave families in a tighter knit community and see maybe a little less transient nature across our life, really.
That's good, Adam.
Yeah, I would just maybe add that what John was saying there, in the context of a local church, you guys joke with me, but I'm a big advocate of more corporate times of worship and fellowship. And so I think churches would be wise in this distracted age of the unchurched, of the deconstruction and all that kind of stuff, to really think about what does it look like for us to really be a church community. You're starting to see a kind of a comeback of, neighborhood style churches, where people are starting to get, like John was saying there, the transient lifestyle that has become so normal for everyone. You're starting to see younger people almost push against that. Now, granted, that's a minority of them, but you're still seeing that. So I think leaning into community, and whatever that looks like in your church, God bless you. I mean, it can mean something different for every different church, but, providing different opportunities so that it's just not once a week, oh, we missed church, I guess that's it for church this week, and allowing those to kind of facilitate more engagement.
It's good, Paul.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of what these guys are saying is right and true. I'm trying to think carefully too, because I don't want to add more to what's already rightfully been said, but because we're talking a lot about cultural analysis, I think, of what's happening and ways to be able to kind of re-engage people within. So like, I'm trying to tell me, that's a long way of saying, tell me the question again, bro.
Yeah. So, what's the reasoning for church attendance going down, and how can the church respond to it?
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So I think Zach nailed it with what he's saying. And these are one of the books that Adam says I don't read, but it's Our Secular Age by Colin Hansen. He wrote on it. It's part of what Charles Taylor, his great work that he did. I don't know if you've ever read it, Adam, but it's a good book.
I have it memorized by heart.
Oh, do you now? Okay. Yeah. Which one? The really big one or anyway, whatever. But I think to joking aside, I think to Zach's point, there really is a growing apathy with God. And I think part of it is what Colin Hansen talks about. Well, it's actually one of the other authors that talk about it, because he has multiple contributors to that work that he did, but it has to do with what one individual calls the buffered self, right? And what that means is you have a group of people right now that they are the center of what they can be able to describe as how they can get meaning and understanding apart from God. So they don't need it anymore. I mean, it's the height of expressive individualism, right? It's where you find yourself at the center of being able to say what truth is, what meaning is, And so God really isn't at the center because he's not necessarily needed. But yet what's so interesting about all of that is that you have this longing for the transcendence, for something greater, for something bigger, but finding it in so many different ways that it can't give you what only God can be able to give you. And so what's interesting is you have the dual irony of you have Gen Zers and even some millennials that want to become the center of what they want to bring meaning to their life at just doing it themselves, but then they'll write a memoir at the age of 22, which doesn't make any sense, right? You haven't lived life long enough to be able to even, like, the guy in Ecclesiastes would look at you and say, "Are you serious right now? Like you
Yeah.
haven't even lived."
Paul, I was going to say, you know, what you're saying, do you think, and all of you can chime in, do you think that in the postmodern age, that almost we're a postmodern age, are we kind of at the end of the book of Ecclesiastes as a society, kind of like what Paul was saying? Like we're kind of at the end of the line here about this expressive individualism. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I remember that time where I was sitting in class with Bruce Ashford, and it's interesting how big of a cannon the expressive individualism group has created in order to shoot it out there to say, this is how you ought to live life, only to realize that that cannon's on a swivel and it's going to turn its way backwards to shoot it right back at you. Meaning everything that you were hoping it was going to prove to you is only going to just say, nope, that's not how it is. And so to your point, right, to the guy in Ecclesiastes, hevel, right? Hevel. It's the Hebrew word for, it's just smoke. You're grasping at something that's not even there to be able to actually be grasped. And it's really detrimental because all of the malaise of which expressive individualism wants to promise you, and malaise is an SAT word for you to say happiness, it really is just unhappiness because it can't give you what only God can give you.
That's good. I'm going to kind of segue us into the next question, then Dad, I'll hand it off to you. Zach, one thing I think that's interesting, you know, you've seen a shift in student ministry of a lot of churches were doing it on Sunday night, or like, you know, my dad's in Nashville. There's just no way to get people all over the city at church on Wednesday night. But now sometimes it's like Wednesday night works against Sunday morning. It's like, well, we came Wednesday night, so it's like a pick 'em. Like, well, we came Wednesday night, we don't have to come Sunday morning. That's an interesting part for us. Here at Burning Bush is in a Ringgold, very local community, and sometimes our Wednesday night attendance eclipses our Sunday morning, which is interesting too. But I want to segue us into the next question because I think the two go hand in hand. Dad, I'll jump in first and then I'll hand off to you. So the next question is, do Gen Z and millennial, we'll just hang out there specifically, do they have an improper view of why we go and why we need church? And one of the things the Lord has really been just impressing upon my heart and our church ministerially is to hammer down the core values. One thing that I've really been trying to teach our young adults is there's two things on why we go to church. We've all said people have the wrong perspective of church. So many of you have a checkbox. Okay, I went to the gym today. I went to work today. Okay, I went to church today. But the two essence components of why we need church are the Word, to sit under the Word in the flesh. The Word transforms our heart. It convicts us. It pushes us. It calls us out of sin. And then community, like we've been talking about. And so my young adults, the 18 to 25, I'm with them one day a week, and I'm just trying to reprogram them to think about church. It's not, you don't go to sit with your mom. You don't go to fulfill your volunteer role. You go for the Word and the community. And one thing I think that we as pastors can maybe do a better job of, maybe you're going expositionally through a book. And this fascinates me on how Zach said they only come once a month now. So if you're going through the book of Philippians, and they're catching 1 out of every 4 messages, I feel like we need to adapt our ministry programming a little bit. And one of the ways we can do that is becoming more value focused. And I think sometimes we kind of negatively speak against sports and families and different things like that. But maybe make a value. Hey, man, here at this church, we believe that Sunday is the best day. Why? Because we sit under the Word together. We have community together and retrain and just push that value lovingly and as a shepherd in a positive light. Hey, we're not worried about complaining about everything else. All we know is that there is power in sitting under the word together. There is power in having community and allowing the Lord to work in your life and in your family. So, Dad, how can we go about shepherding parents and teaching the next generation to have a proper perspective of why church?
Well, first of all, I think today most people think that church is a hobby, and I think that is a problem. But I also think a problem is, and I think we have to be real careful. I think that the way people view their relationship with the Lord, for instance, God is for me. God wants the best for me. God, and we know that that's how God can serve me rather than the proper view. So we know that there's an improper view and there's a proper view of no, it's not God for you. It's what and how you can serve God. But I think the part that we have to be very careful is how we make that transition. We have to be very Holy Spirit led. We have to be wise. And that's why we try to get the information of today's culture so that we can see where they're at and then begin to have that transformation. And I think sometimes as pastors, we try to do too much in our own mind and our own wisdom, and we just kind of push the Holy Spirit out. And so we're not Holy Spirit led. And so I really believe that, trying to take what is improper and make it proper, I think we have to be very, very careful because we can preach what it should be, but rather than trying to grab someone by the hand and carefully and gently and with love and mercy and grace begin to slowly change that process of how they see and understand God in their life. And sometimes I think, we want it so badly, we just make it happen and we find a scripture verse and we just hammer it home rather than taking some time, allowing the Holy Spirit to lead and guide everything that you do as a leader, how you train your church and the culture that you're setting within your church. And I think from what I have seen, because this generation is looking for meaning, and so they want it, but they needed to be guided, not slapped or pointed or say, what's your problem? And because we want it so badly, pastors, we want it so badly. But I think we just have to be very patient. And again, I'm going to say again, Holy Spirit led, much time in prayer, and allow God to do what only God can do.
Zach?
I'm probably not answering the question, but
That's fine.
What Joe just said and what John said earlier, just kind of connecting these things. John was talking about family worship and what Joe just said about using that word hobby. And really what everyone's been saying here is I'm just thinking about this idea of where our families are, where people are, and church is just another thing. People talk about, you talk about just checking a box, Joseph, this idea of, how do we help our families see that church isn't just another thing? And how do we help them see that it is something that is so much more? And if we look at the statistics of students that are walking away from the church after high school, and after college and all of that, and the reason so many of them that is the reason. So many of them, they see their families, that church, God had no impact in their life. Why would I stick with something that if it had no bigger impact on my life? And, one of the illustrations we use here is, we live in a very outsourcing society. We outsource my kids' baseball lessons. We outsource my kids' math and tutoring. We outsource everything. So we outsource religious instruction. You guys are the experts. And so why would anything else happen at home? And so I guess my only response would be, how do we get back to the synergy of the church and the family, the church and the home, of helping our families see that it starts at home, and without belittling or shaming or coming down on families, and just trying to meet them where they're at. So like what John was talking about, family worship, I think is beautiful, but for a lot of them, you talk about family worship, that might feel like a large step. How do we help them with small steps of saying, okay, this isn't John's job, Paul's job, Joe's job. This isn't their job primarily. This starts here. How do we do that?
I don't have the silver bullet, but I think we've been thinking about that question. How do we see that happen in our context? And one of the things that our next gen pastor introduced was catechism, teaching scripture, memorization of this back and forth. And then the worship team jumped onto that idea and recorded a song to be able to sing together. And they released it with all of our people singing, just like we do when we gather on Sunday, our people, and encouraged the families to sing this song together with each other throughout the week. And then on the fifth Sunday, we'll be together. We'll sing it here collectively. And so it's trying to weave in like the siloed approach in ministry. We're not just, well, my students are over here doing whatever, and this is over here doing whatever. How do you integrate those ministries together and see them as beneficial to each other? That really takes someone believing in the proximity of the family as the nucleus of a gathered church together as a family, and sees ways to connect the dots for them. Like you said, I can listen to this song with my kids in the car, at home. They'll know the people. I'll get to explain, oh, this is Aaron's voice. This is so-and-so playing. They know those people, and you can worship together. And then Sunday, we're going to arrive and we're actually going to sing that song that we've been singing for the last month. So, and that's just a real practical, but I agree with you. There's got to be
That's good.
steps to move them along that path. The idea of a guy coming into his home, I rarely read the Bible. Now I'm supposed to help teach it to this family is a daunting task. And we have to be careful not to put it out there like, hey man, you got this, but really kind of walk along with them and help equip him to do that.
Adam, got any final thoughts?
No, I maybe would just summarize where you started us off, Joseph. You mentioned, the importance of values in the life of people. And I would also borrow from Edwards and say it's the affections. We need to be praying for and leading towards the affection of our people to love Christ, love his church, love his word. And as long as we are leading in that way and people are getting on board with, this Jesus thing is not all about me, like has been said. I think once their affections are stirred for Christ, their life will change, and those patterns and habits and values and their schedules will adjust accordingly. Yeah.
Well, Zach, we thank you for being on, sir. Church starts in the home, not in the building. We will be off next week for fall break, and then we will be back 2 weeks from now. Everybody have a great day.
All right.